Hello, and welcome to another Frackin' podcast. I'm Joseph, and I'm here with my co-hosts.
I'm Marty.
And I'm Van.
And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And if you're tuning in again, thank you so much. We're so glad to have you back. Today's episode is MoonJoy, and today we're discussing the moon. We're talking about humans' obsession with the moon, our history, myths, legends, modern media, and of course, Artemis. So, yeah, who wants
Basically,
to pick
we're
this
just
off?
gonna gush about the moon for an hour or so.
I mean, gushing about the moon.
If the moon is listening, we are love bombing you.
Yes, absolutely. We are
Prepared.
obsessed, and you will know all about it.
Look, how can we not be obsessed about the moon? Let's just look at how beautiful the moon is.
That's gorgeous.
These
I even like the
pictures-
dark side of it.
Yes. I mean,
So
humans
toxic.
have
So many moon
probably
jokes.
been in love with the moon since humans looked up and saw the moon. I'm assuming, because how do you hang out at night and look up and not notice the moon? So like,
I mean,
as long
I
as
was
humans have
outside
been
during the
looking
day
up-
yesterday and the moon was out. So I was like, I saw it.
Hi moon, how are you?
Hey, moon. Hey, girl.
I have been obsessed with the moon forever. And I do want to also admit that I am a Cancer, so I think that's supposed to be a thing I'm obsessed with.
Oh, is that a Cancer thing?
I think so. I think
I
that's
don't
very much a
know.
Cancer thing. I know nothing about astrology outside of the fact that I am a Cancer and we're supposed to be moon people
Oh,
of some sort, whatever that
I
means.
love it. I love that. I know nothing about astrology either.
Yeah.
Except that I'm
I
supposed to have an
should-
evil twin. That's all I know. Or maybe I have a good twin.
Probably the good twin.
I mean, if we're talking about author you, apparently a good twin.
Evil.
A good twin.
Evil. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
good.
maybe it's just that you have two sides. Evil author
Like the
you,
moon.
who makes me angry and makes me cry, and then nice, sweet Marty, who is my friend.
Yeah. You know, I should write my next book about the moon
You should.
for you. Werewolf
should.
books.
Yes, you should. You should definitely
Werewolf
talk about
books.
werewolves.
Werewolves. I love werewolf myths and how some of them are so radically different, but still very clearly werewolf. It makes me so happy.
Like vampire myths kind of differ from like area to area.
Yes.
I was always more of a vampire person, but I have to say, the Werewolf by Night that came out a few years ago by Marvel was so good. And I just was like, why do we need more moon content like that? Actually, well, Marvel has been given some moon content for the last couple years. We need to get more of it.
Marvel has been giving us moon content.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
Yes.
you're prepared. Moon
content.
Knight.
I
Oh, it
kind
was
of
so
prepared.
good.
I watched some of Moon Knight, I'll be honest. I didn't finish Moon Knight just because I don't know, it was kind of slow in the middle and I lost focus. And then something shiny showed up and yeah. But
something shiny showing up is very understandable. Them not making this like 5-season show is not understandable.
That exactly. Yes. Because if you
I'm
get
still
through,
mad.
if you
Now
can,
I'm looking
if
at
you
this
can get,
dude and I'm just mad.
if you can get through the whole first season, like it was so perfectly set up to be long running.
Yeah.
And the story itself also perfectly set up for TV. Like I loved that it was like, we're gonna take this to TV, we're not gonna make it into a feature film. I felt really like, I don't know, I just loved the mythology that they put into it, and there was something about it that just was really, really compelling.
It was so good.
I I don't understand their TV and movie strategy, to be completely honest, because they've got so many good things, and I hope that you know hopefully he's featured in like the next Avengers movie. I think is when we're gonna get to see him, and, like Shang-Chi, which by the way, Shang-Chi is still like one of the better performing Marvel movies post Endgame, and yeah,
All of the mythology based Marvel films that have come out post Endgame, I think have been fantastic. And the ones that
yeah,
haven't been rooted in some kind of cultural mythology have been kind of like, okay. But like, yeah, Shang-Chi, I thought Eternals was great.
I
Moon
loved
Knight was
Eternals.
great. Yeah.
I
But
think Eternals could have been a little stronger, but overall, I loved the movie. Um, I don't, yeah, I just don't understand the hate for like Eternals, or I don't understand Marvel's hate for Shang-Chi because it actually did really well in the box
it did
office.
so well. And I
So
don't know if
well,
you
and it
guys got
was
to see
so
it in
good, and it was
4D.
so pretty.
It was pretty. And I saw it in 4D and I got the sorry, Van's mom, shit kicked out of me by my chair. Every time, every time somebody landed smack on their back, like the wind was knocked out of me, I was like, this is amazing. I feel like I just got beat up real bad. And it was a great movie. And I enjoyed every
That
second of
sounds
it.
amazing.
Like,
That sounds
I
amazing.
was like, I kind of want that experience now.
I mean, go back and
Yeah.
watch the film and count how many times somebody hits the ground on their back or is like hit in the back. And then
Yeah.
imagine sitting in one of those massage chairs and then just literally being like pounded. I was like, bam, bam, bam. But it was a great movie experience. So,
Okay, so Moon
It
Knight.
sounds like the
Oh,
only way to watch it now.
so back to Moon Knight. It has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's praised as one of the best Marvel TV shows. And we have seen Diddley Squat.
one, it was fantastic. I mean, am I will religiously watch anything that has Ethan Hawke in it. I don't care what it is. If Ethan Hawke is in it, I will watch it. And I loved him in that.
Okay, so now
I
I need to go
don't
back and
know the
rewatch.
reasoning behind not continuing it because normally the reasons given are always like, it didn't make enough money, not enough people watched it. But we see that not be the case for so many things. So I assume it's some little man in some little room somewhere was like, I didn't like it. And I have the power to be like, no more.
So you're talking about Kevin Feige. Just putting that out there.
I'm not
I mean,
naming names.
it's
I'm
not
not
just
naming
Marvel
names.
though. You know, I mean, this has been going on in the industry for a while, like in other things. I was PO'd years ago when I heard about Coyote versus Acme getting scrapped and then Batgirl getting scrapped. But the good news is Coyote's coming back. They're finally going to release it, I heard. Unless somebody was like April Foolsing me yesterday when they sent me that. It sounds like they're actually going to release it. So
That would be amazing.
I'm hoping that this is like these industries realizing, while we spent all that money making these massive films, people said that they were good. The woman who did the soundtrack for Loki did the soundtrack for Batgirl, and she's like, well, why nobody gets to hear my soundtrack? I hope these things come out.
I would be so angry if I did a soundtrack or worked on that in any way, and then they're just like, no. Like, it hurts me deeply when you're watching behind the scenes things and the artists are like, oh, I made this set, oh, I designed this costume, we did this whole thing, and then it got cut. Like that makes me really sad. But at least most of the time in a behind the scene thing, you can at least see it and
Yeah.
appreciate it to a certain extent. But the idea that the entire movie was just like, yeah, we did this movie, we did the whole fucking thing, sorry mom, and we're just gonna put it on a shelf and never let you even see it.
Right?
I love that when we're streaming, we have to apologize to Van's mom for cussing. And I also love that today it's you two who have done it and not me.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean,
Yet.
it was dumb. I'm sure
Yet.
it was dumb. But no, I had to look this up just to validate whether or not they were punking you, Marty. And
Is
it
it
is upcoming.
Yes, yes.
It's like it's even on Wikipedia.
Look, they released it. They released the trailer. I saw the trailer, and I'm like, this it has to be real because I've seen the trailer. It looks so good. And I don't know if you can see in the corner here. I got a Wile E. Coyote like right there. He is my favorite, like animated character.
He's
And
so good.
he's so good. And I am just like, it looks so good. It looks like it's got this Who Framed Roger Rabbit style thing going for it. And I'm here for that. I'm here for this like let's
I love
bring
that
back
movie.
let's bring back fun animation real life mashups. I'm here.
Let's bring
Please.
back like fun
Yes.
original like
And bring back more
media.
things like Moon Knight. This like one shot or not Moon Knight. This Werewolf by Night. This like one shot like comic style TV series. I like that. I mean, they could have done a whole bunch of them.
They should do one like
mean,
every
I know-
Halloween, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I know Spider Noir is
How
coming
fun would
out,
that be?
and I
Um,
hope it's good, but we'll
Punisher's
see.
doing a one shot too. They're doing like a one shot for
Oh.
Punisher,
Good.
which I actually like.
I
This
like him as
iteration.
Punisher. Yeah, I
I
do
think he's
too.
pretty good. But I can't. I used to be so like in tune with upcoming Marvel projects, and they've just been so slow to release things, and they keep on not
just-
following up on things
Yeah.
that I like.
I feel like this next Avengers movie is going to determine whether I continue hardcore with the fandom or not. Because it's like, I don't really want to go back to like what we already had. I want the new stuff. I want to see
Yeah.
like something different. I want to be surprised. Which was kind of funny because like when I was trying to prepare for this podcast, I'm like, what am I going to talk about with the moon? And you guys were like, what do we want? What are your favorite like moon things? And I went back and like watched my favorite moon related movie. I was like, wow, the 90s was the peak of movie making. I'm sorry.
90s movies are so good.
We need more 90s movies, but now
We really,
I feel like
we really
we were
do.
spoiled as kids.
I feel like 80s and 90s, but yeah, definitely 90s. We had so much good television, so many good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
we
we-
really did.
Now
I
I'm
mean,
kinda
even
sad.
the cheesy things, right? Like, what? Of course, Princess Bride is
some
one
of
of
the
those things.
cheesy Princess Bride, the cheesiness is the best part.
But you know, it's funny. So, like, a lot of people, I think that's why one of the reasons why I liked Eternals so much. So, a lot of people didn't like Eternals. They thought it was slow paced. They thought it took too long to get to the current storyline. But to me, when I watched Eternals, my first thought was, oh, this is 90s era storytelling. This is like how movies were made back then, like how the story actually takes a long time to get through the first act. In books as well. Anything written before, like, I would say the last like 20 years. It takes 100 pages before you figure out what the book is even about. And like the same with movies. We had this long intro leads, and I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
Especially in films, I kind of miss being like slowly integrated into the world. But you know, with people's, you know, social media being so like, I'm on my phone all the time, you can't have these slow introductions. You just lose everybody too quickly.
I
which
think we're
is
going to be
sad.
headed back that direction because
I
Gen
hope so.
Alpha is focused heavily on not being online as much and being much more anonymous.
I have seen a lot of these videos on YouTube of people going analog, and I really love that. And I have an old tape player from my Marty McFly cosplay that still works. And I'm thinking about going to the thrift store and just finding some tapes and being like, all right, I'm going
Let's
for
do
my
this.
walk. I'm putting on my Walkman.
Do it.
I
I
mean,
bought a VHS tape at like this thrift store the other day.
You have a
And
VCR?
like, do I have a VCR? No. Was I considering getting a VCR just to watch it? Maybe. But I found Jurassic
Man.
Park Lost World at
Oh,
this
yeah.
like thrift store. And
Did
I was
you-
like,
did
you
you
know
get
what?
the
Even if
one-
I never watch it, I need it.
Was it the one that had the holographic cover? Because I remember as a kid, I had the VHS for Lost World that had like the holographic
I
cover.
had
That
one,
It was
sounds
yeah.
kind of like you
awesome.
turned it and it was like, ooh.
Yeah, I had that
I don't
one.
remember
Did
it
you?
being
Okay.
holographic.
So good. So
But
good.
I was just like, yes, I don't care if I never watch this. I want to own it. And then I
Yeah.
had to explain VHS to my kids and like Be Kind Rewind and like I've had to explain to these kids like yeah, you can't just stream the entire series in one sitting. Like I
Right.
think it was a Star Wars show we were watching like weekly as it came out and they're like okay, next episode and I'm like no, you have to wait until next week and they're like why? So like
I
explaining to them yeah, you have to like actually rewind it.
I mean I'm obsessed with The Pit, and they're doing that. It feels like old television. And like in one hand I hate it, but on the other hand it gives me something to look forward to. I'm like I have
Yeah.
to have my stuff done before Friday when this comes out. Like it used to be for me. I'd be like, "Okay, Sunday nights at 9, X-Files is coming on. I have to have my homework done. I got to be ready to go." I love Ryan's comment here in the chat that he's been thinking about getting a CD player to listen to his old audiobooks because I was
Yes.
looking at different audiobook subscriptions yesterday because I'm like, oh, maybe I should get on the audiobook train and like actually subscribe. But these subscriptions are such scams. Like you don't even get the audiobook. It's like, I don't know. It's like having something on streaming, except at any moment they can just take it away for you before you even get to like
Yeah.
listen to it.
I as you both know, have decided that I am doing physical media.
Yeah.
And just doing the things I need to do to ensure that I maintain ownership of what I purchase, because I can't stand like Spotify and all the other like streaming services like Apple Music, where it's just like, okay, it's here now, but gone tomorrow. Like, no, that's not fair. Why am I
Well, you
paying
know
all
what?
this money for?
And you know what I miss too, is I miss that like when you would, because I've been like rebuying my DVDs as well. And something that I've missed and I've rediscovered since going back to the thrift store and buying DVDs is I forgot about like DVD commentaries
Yeah.
and the behind the scenes
Yes.
interviews
Yes.
and like the blooper reels. Like
Yes.
that's one of the best parts of physical media is having all of these extra side things that gives you a better appreciation for the film and the media. And you don't get that with like, you stream something on Netflix, okay, done, goodbye, but you don't get to see all the cool stuff that went into making the movie.
Yeah. Like I bought all of this. Well, it's no longer all of the Star Trek because they have released new things, but up to Strange New World season 2 media, like I went on eBay and bought whatever I was missing. I had a few things, but I just purchased it all, and like it's cool. Like even the original Star Trek animated series has like commentary
Yeah.
stuff, extra
Yeah.
discs. I was like, this is amazing. I
It
absolutely
is.
love it. And I think that's one of the things that with streaming that has been lost is they're trying to like just chunk out like things to kind of get you drawn in quickly, and there's no more like joy, anticipation, right? Like seasons, like I don't care that seasons are shorter. I totally understand the need for like actors to have time off with their family, and I know that like 26 episodes per season is just not realistic in this day and age, but it's the gap between seasons that bothers me so much. Like, why do I have to wait 2 years?
2 years.
It's you lose.
I mean, honestly, you
interest.
lose the interest. Yeah, I was gonna say, there are some shows that I really like, House of the Dragon, for example. But how many years has it been since? I can't even tell you how many years it's been since the last season. I don't remember anything that happened. And like, how many times I remember when the second season came out, I had to rewatch the first one again. So I have to rewatch both seasons again in preparation for the third season. I mean, that's just wild.
Like Stranger Things, the last season had just wrapped a few months ago, and I went to go watch it, and the first episode I'm like, wait, what the hell happened last season?
I had no idea what was going on.
2 years, and then like here's Ryan again. I feel ripped off. The streaming services don't have audio commentary or special features. I mean, yeah, like.
It's upsetting. I didn't even watch the last season of Stranger Things. I was so like there's just been so many gaps between each season. It has been harder and harder for me to get back and watch it every season.
Mm-hmm.
And this season, because I watch it with my partner, like we were both like, and we never sat down and watched it. Like still.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Because like
no, it's it's
Yeah.
it really has been, I think, the downside. Again, with like younger people, right? My youngest brother is not Gen Alpha; he's Gen Z, but he keeps on complaining about just the lack of originality. Like they are like all of the cool shows that are original and people seem to love always get cut because we didn't have enough streamers, or I just don't, their interest has waned between seasons. Like, well, because it's been 2 freaking years.
I think too, like I feel like the binge watching method is also not helping because when a show comes out and it's only 8 to 10 episodes, you binge watch it literally in a night or a weekend,
Yeah.
and then the craze is gone. Instead of building momentum of we're building our fandom and our interest every single week because people keep talking about it. If a show keeps coming, like my FYP when leading up to the last episode of The Pit this season was just people talking about like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, the next episode is
week.
coming out in 2 days. It's coming out, and it was just like this constant momentum and fervor of people who were excited. Whereas if it had all come out on one day and everybody binged it in one day, they wouldn't be talking about it, and then everybody would be moving on to something else. And then you have to have a constant influx of new material to replace the old thing instead of just like really kind of milking the old thing for everything you can get out of it.
I cannot be trusted to not binge watch, so I appreciate how they're doing The Pit.
Yeah.
So much. Even though it drives me crazy because like every episode's a fucking cliffhanger.
I know, it's nuts.
And it's like I have to wait, but yes.
Fine. I think the writing of The Pit is, I don't want to say completely unique, but it is fairly unique. And yes, you do get a cliffhanger each episode. And yes, it is one continuous story, which is one of the big things that I complain about in modern TV shows. But you don't have to have just seen the previous episode to jump into the next episode of The Pit. It is in small enough chunks that you're like, okay, I remember enough from last week.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other shows, if you are not binging them, you're like, what happened last week? What happened in the last episode? I've got to watch the recap or I have to binge it. So I do think that they did an amazing job in the writer's room on so many levels. It's fantastic writing, but how they did it where it is still accessible to watch weekly is something we haven't seen in television for a while. And I love that.
I think they're really smart too in how they implemented it with sound. I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's like no music. And apparently they did this on purpose because music is an emotional and mental cue for viewers to like stop looking at their phone. But if there is no music and the only sound is the background of the hospital, you have to keep watching and you don't have time to look at your phone because you're going to miss something. And I love that. It's like tricking you to stay focused.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah, it is.
It
and
is
it's
highly
hilarious
engaging.
There is a soundtrack because I was curious. I pulled it up on Spotify. There is a soundtrack for The Pit, but a lot of it is like there's a very low background hum, and then it's just like the beeping. It's the beeping of all the apparatus.
I love this. I love this.
Ooh,
yes. Moving back to the moon. Who watched Apollo 13?
This is like my favorite movie ever. I love this movie. And whenever you see like these interviews of people giving their letterbox, nobody says Apollo 13. I'm like, how is Apollo 13 not on anybody's like favorite movie watching list? Also, if you have the DVD of this one, the DVD commentary on Apollo 13 is Jim and Marilyn Lovell, the actual astronaut, and his wife, giving commentary on the film and talking about what was real, what was made for the story to make it more interesting for moviegoers. And
I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
It's very good. Yeah.
Ryan just said the same thing.
See, Ryan and I are on the same level. He knows. He is with me. But this is like, do you guys know about the making of this film at all?
Not enough.
A little bit, but I mean, of course, being in Houston. But
To me, this is such a wild movie. And if you are somebody, if you're listening to this podcast and you've never seen Apollo 13, first of all, you need to see it. But if you are like somebody who's interested in filmmaking, how they did this movie in the 90s completely blows my mind because they actually built like almost accurate replicas of like the lunar module and the space capsule. They actually filmed this in zero gravity. Like they filmed 4 hours of Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton on the Vomit Comet, floating, like literally. And they tried to do their lines as well, but apparently the sound of the airplane was just way too much, and so they had to like dub in their lines over. So any scene where you actually see them floating, they literally are in zero gravity, and they've just dubbed their voices over it. But they spent 4 hours. They did like 612 trips
That's
in the Vomit
insane.
Comet.
God,
That's insane.
And they had to go through actual astronaut training with Jim Lovell and David Scott, who was the commander of Apollo 15, I think. They did actual training with him, and then everybody like Ed Harris, who was working on the other side of it, they did an actual flight control, like boot camp, essentially, space camp for flight control. Like they actually trained to do all of these things. These are actual real sets. I mean, it's
Wild.
so incredible to me. I don't know. I'm like we need to make I want to see movies that are made like this again.
Yes.
yeah. I mean the technical mastery and like the extreme level they went to. Like I feel like special effects are great, and I love special effects. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot that's lost about actually doing like the physical effects, right? The actual sets.
Yes.
There's a lot lost from like going up in the Vomit Comet, but to me, like that's amazing.
That's wild. I mean, and to actually work with NASA on this project. I mean, fantastic. And to have the people who were actually there, like Jim Lovell, also working on the project. I mean, and I see there's a comment in the chat about Ed Harris. Ed Harris as Gene Kranz was one of the most inspiring performances I've ever seen in my life. Like every time I see him, I start crying in this movie at like so many moments. And his book, Failure is Not an Option, is also fantastic. So you got to read that book if you haven't read it.
And I remember I think he did an interview where he was talking about like the research he did to play him, and I think it was Jim Lovell who even said like he got the mannerisms right.
Oh, I mean, Ed Harris, all of his films where he plays like biographical, like real characters, like real life characters, he's so amazing. If you like him as Gene Kranz, you should check him out as Jackson Pollock in the film Pollock, with Marcia Gay Harden. The two of them together, they studied those two artists so perfectly. Like when you're watching it, if you know the artist, you know the art, you almost forget that it's an actor. And I feel like I have the same thing when I watch Apollo 13, especially with his character. I really feel like, oh, this is Gene Kranz. Like this is like somehow Ed Harris has like sucked the soul out of this guy and like embodied him perfectly.
Yeah, I mean he's just a master at his craft. One of the things I love about Apollo 13 is just mission control and seeing the sets. Because like growing up in Houston, I had the opportunity to go like to NASA, right?
I love
and of course there's like now there's Space Center Houston where you have all like the displays and stuff, but you can still do a tour of the command centers and NASA, right? So they'll have tours throughout the day. They have one of the command centers set up to basically just like mimic the Apollo era command center. So like you can see like actual mission control with actual missions on depending on the day of the tour. But there's also just the historic one they keep there just for reference. And that is super cool because you go in and you sit down and they've actually put in a lot of work to like play audio from the original Apollo missions. And it is a huge deal. And the accuracy of the movie to what you see when you actually go on tour at NASA is amazing.
Yeah, it's been about 20 years since I've been on the tour at Houston, but I cried there as well. So I just cry whenever I'm at space things. If I see the NASA logo, I start crying. So
I mean, we're all just a little teary-eyed about NASA, right? Like that's normal. Like that's normal, right?
It's normal.
And it's
It's
interesting because
normal.
I feel like, in the 60s, they had this huge space race, this huge push, and I felt like that was very inspiring to like probably most of our parents. And then when we were younger, there was still like remnants of that going on. And then like kind
Yeah.
of you hit like 2000 era when the space shuttle situation kind of crawls to an end. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know, but do kids even like care about space anymore? This is what I was so excited about Artemis, because I was just like, I feel like space has not been in the news uh forever.
I would say your average kid probably not, but my kids are my kids, obviously,
Yeah.
so they don't get a choice. Uh, but I think it was 6 years ago because I checked recently. Because when Artemis 2 launched, a lot of people were like, we were doing this. Like they had no idea. They were so confused. I was like, yeah, I've been waiting for this for years. And they're like,
Yeah.
of course you would be waiting for this. Of course you knew. And I'm like, no, like, don't you know about the Artemis project? Like this is so cool. But I think it was about 6 years ago when NASA and Lindsay Sterling did a collab. And so she has this, and I sent it
Right.
to the podcast chat, but it's on NASA's YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's Lindsay Sterling playing her violin, being amazing.
She's so great.
And she's fantastic. And it has just little facts throughout the video, which is, fantastic and amazing. So I'm like, yeah, no, I've been working up to this launch for years. Like, yes, I have been following this. And I made my kids watch that. And one of my kids got so into it that they then were obsessed with Lindsay Sterling for like 2 years after that.
I love it.
But yeah, my kids, I make them watch launches. They think it's really cool. We then dive into a lot of the facts and stuff about it. My youngest sat with me and watched Apollo 13 when I was watching it Friday. And the whole time kept looking at me and asking if this was real and if they lived, and are like, he would get so tense at certain points and he'd be like, are they going to be okay? Are they going to be okay? I'm like, you have to watch the movie.
I mean, they did such a great job too of like combining like storytelling with documented fact on that.
Yeah.
Because you're watching it and I feel like if you know the story of Apollo 13, you're watching the movie and your logical, rational brain is like, I know what's going to happen. I know the story. I know the history. And the other part of you is just like, the storytelling is so compelling.
It's so
The
good.
visuals are so realistic. The acting is so incredibly authentic. I almost convince myself sometimes I'm actually watching what actually happened.
It feels very, very real. And I watched it so many times as a kid growing up, but it was still like very compelling to watch. And I was still, like nervous for them. Like, I haven't seen this. Like, I don't know what happens. And right before we watched that, we watched Hidden Figures,
Also
which is one of
amazing.
my favorite
So good.
movies. And that was a great one to talk to my kids about, because like it doesn't just go into the science and NASA. It also goes into like racial things at the time. And like one of my kids got really, really upset about
the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
The bathroom scene.
Catherine running to the bathroom. Like, we have her, Katherine Johnson's Barbie. She had a Barbie come out and I got it. And we have a book that goes with it that we got at the same time. So like, they're very, very aware of her. And they're like, she had to walk past bathrooms to use bathrooms. I'm like, yeah.
That scene in that movie hit me so hard. And I love that scene because there's a moment where the camera pans from her to Kevin Costner, and there's this like look on his face where like he looks genuinely confused, and you can see his brain processing the information and then you see him like get it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that was such a good movie.
It
I need to
was
rewatch
so
that
well
movie.
done. It's
I
so
should
beautiful.
rewatch it too.
The costumes alone transfix me, because they're beautifully done.
Yeah.
And I understand that a lot of it isn't 100% historically accurate. They did, take some liberties, but the main structure of the film is beautiful, and they had to change some things to get a cohesive narrative for a
Yeah.
film, and I understand that. But my kids were very amused at John Glenn being like, okay, but like I want the girl to look at the numbers. And they're like,
Yeah.
did that really happen? And I was like, yeah.
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 I always appreciate funny John Glenn moments being from Ohio. And I love all of those memes where it's like, Ohio has the most astronauts that have ever come out of the United States. And people are like, because your state is so bad, you want to go to outer space or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm like, it's hilarious. Another great movie, though, for the Gemini to Apollo program is The Right Stuff. Have you guys seen that one?
I don't think I have seen that one.
Also,
I
Ed
think I saw it
Harris.
years ago.
I think Ed Harris plays John Glenn in that one. Dennis Quaid, I think he's Gus Grissom, Scott Glenn. It's a stellar all-star cast, and everybody's super young because I think it was in the 80s when they filmed that one, early 80s. Also fantastic if you're looking to learn about how they went from basically breaking the sound barrier to landing on the moon. And the sad story of the people who didn't really get to be part of it. Charles Lindbergh, sad, but situations where the people that didn't get chosen for it, and then why they didn't get chosen for the Apollo mission programs, like were they too tall or were they too old, or it's an interesting film.
That is, I will have to look that up and watch
The
it.
Right Stuff. I think it's also based on a book as well.
That I need to rewatch it. It's been forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Okay, to Scott's comment, which is distantly related to John Glenn, it's like a second cousin twice removed from my paternal grandmother's side. I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't understand.
But I'm impressed.
Yeah, I need a chart.
Impressed,
I need a chart.
I do need a visual, Scott. Like, you're gonna have to send us a visual because that's cool, and I want to be excited for you, but also I need a visual because these are definitely words.
I'm fairly certain I've met John Glenn, and I meant to call my mom and ask her to make sure, but I'm fairly certain I've met him on more than one occasion. So
I mean, you were in Ohio.
Check me.
So,
yeah, I grew up in Ohio.
Yeah, he was all
and
over
I'm pretty
the place.
sure he
because he was politician.
Was kind of friends with my grandpa. Wasn't he like a senator after that or something like that? Something in government?
I think he was he a governor? Or
let's verify what
Let's
John
verify.
Glenn was.
What did he do?
He was a senator from Ohio from 1974 to 1999.
Yeah.
And then he was chair of Homeland Security and Government Affairs. So yeah, he was definitely very prominent politician
and he has many highways named after him.
So I vaguely remember meeting this man.
Look, I have to say also,
sure.
I'm gonna give a lore drop here, a Marty lore drop on Apollo 13.
Yes, so, I need a Marty lore drop. They're my favorite.
Strap yourselves in, friends. Apollo 13 is the reason I went to medical school, because I really wanted to be an astronaut, and after I got my English degree, which all astronauts have, I was like, I'm going to be an astronaut. So I went to Ohio State University and I was like, I'm just going to do aerospace engineering. How I got into that program with my English degree, no idea, but I did. And I'm like, well, I'm in aerospace engineering. I'm like, I'm not really an engineering person. And so I was like, how else can I become an astronaut? And so I looked, and that's like, if you're not like a fighter pilot or an engineer, then your best chances are either being like a high school science teacher or a doctor.
And of course you went doctor.
Well, I taught for a few years, and I'm like, this is not for me. This is not for me. So I'm like, I'll go to med school so I can become an astronaut. And now I'm on this podcast.
Okay, so
that's my lore
NASA,
job.
If you're watching, you need to send Marty into space.
Send me to space.
Because she has many different skills.
I guarantee I'm more qualified than Katy Perry.
Okay, but
well,
so let's draw a line here, right? Let's draw a line here, right? Because there are actual astronauts like these people. Who
incredible
spend time in space. Look, this crew, by the way, like how much joy this crew gives.
They were so joyous, like
all the time.
every single time I saw them, I didn't care what they were talking about. Like I was smiling so hard, like my face was hurting. And I'm like, what's wrong with my face? And I realized I couldn't stop smiling because they were just so joyous. And so I'm like, this is what we need. We need more joy.
I think the press conference where they're sitting, like they came to Houston and they're doing this press conference, and Reed was like, "This is the furthest away I've been from." I can't remember who he said it to, and like you're just too far away. You're just, and then like he comes over and
He comes
like,
over and stands by him.
and it's just, and they had Rise, like everybody
Oh.
on social media is obsessed with Rise, right? Like who's keeping Rise? Like how is Rise safe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who has Rise?
And I loved that they would drop the good morning playlist on
Yeah.
social media. Like, what is waking the astronauts up today? I'm just like, this is what social media should be for. This is what we should be using this technology for. Is like live
This is
streaming.
what I want in my
When
life.
I realized they were live streaming it, I like
Yeah.
lost my mind. I like pulled it up on my television. I sat there, I'm like staring at this big screen, and all I could think of was if they had this when I was a kid, if I had as a kid were sitting like on like the floor of my living room watching a live stream of actual astronauts in space, I would have lost my mind. I mean, I was losing my
Right?
mind like a couple weeks ago, but I would have lost my mind as a kid. I would be
So
in space right now
the
if I
Pink
had had that.
the Pink Pony Club like playlist, like to wake them up. So I like on Instagram when she got back, Christina like posted a video of the other side of that, and she's singing well alongside to Pink Pony Club, and then they cut it off, and you just hear her like, "No, you need to call them."
Call them right
And
now.
I'm just like, that is so
No,
hilarious and amazing.
valid. Because how dare you play the Pink Pony Club and cut it off during the chorus? Like,
Right?
what are you talking about? What are you doing with your life?
I was pissed for them, and I was so happy that she posted that video because they were all like getting into it and rocking out, and they were all pissed off as soon as it cut off, and rightly so.
Rightly so. I mean, I do love having the Good Morning playlist. I do love how much we got from the astronauts and from NASA about what they were doing in space.
I also feel like, and this is going to be like, maybe it's just me being super nostalgic, but for me, watching this mission, it kind of healed something in me that was lost because of the Challenger mission. Like we were all kids
And
when this
Columbia.
happened. In Columbia, that's true. But I like remembered both. Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God, yeah, I remember watching that one. That was horrible too.
Like I had
I
so
also-
much
I also
anxiety
cried.
at liftoff because
I do
of
too.
Challenger, but then I also had so much anxiety like
Yeah.
when they were doing re-entry because of what happened at Columbia. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is terrifying right now.
Yeah. But I felt like this kind of like healed that like a little bit of that horror from my childhood of like this, because as a kid I'm like, that's the dream. Like you're an astronaut. Like, wow, that's like incredible. Until you find out what they get paid and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I really loved like the happiness that this crew exuded. I loved that the team at NASA, like at the flight control team, was like on board with like getting the average regular human person involved in it. It was just very exciting.
I think the big difference, because we've had, you mentioned Katy Perry, right? We've had
Sorry.
missions, but we've had missions from tech bros with big spaceships measuring their
yeah. But
spaceship measuring
that doesn't
content.
feel like
It's not inspiration
for all mankind, right?
No.
I do like
that's for one mankind.
I do like that. It seems like on every mission they do have some form of scientists go up, and they are doing experiments when they go up, and they don't talk about that enough. They're like, ooh, look at this cool thing that we're doing. Look at this celebrity that we're sending up. And I'm like, okay, but you're also taking up like this cool experiment. Also, like there are like people that I follow, scientists that I follow who have gone up on these missions, and they talk about their experience. But these companies are not like saying, hey, look at this inspirational thing that we're doing. And I think that is very disappointing.
And
Not that I have my hopes very high for these companies,
no.
but they could really be sparking a lot more joy and a lot more interest in space and
Yeah.
space exploration. And they're like approaching it more from a like, look at this cool thing that we can do.
You know, this is where the conspiracy theorist in me comes out, because I see, look, I got a lot of, today is the day of conspiracy theories for me, but we won't get into that. But like, you know, I look at the media literacy crisis and the literacy crisis, especially in the United States, it's going on right now. And then I compare it with what you just said right now, and about how they go up, they're doing these experiments, they don't tell you about it. They just show you a picture of Katy Perry or somebody, whatever, famous or whatever. And I think to myself, like, are they doing this on purpose? Like, because yeah, like you said, this is a fantastic opportunity to inspire young people to be interested in science, or to be interested. I would say even NASA can inspire people to be interested in the arts, right?
Hmm.
Filmmakers for space films, writers, science fiction writers. I mean, there's such a huge opportunity here for these capitalists of industry, essentially, to build us a better society by inspiring young people to want to go into this or to research it. And then instead they're just showing us, like, you know, the 10-second like TikTok clip of like whatever. And part of me feels like it's on purpose, because that's how they're making money. They don't make money if you're educated and intelligent and illiterate. So I don't know.
Whereas the difference with NASA is,
Yeah.
as a publicly held, like a public service that our taxpayers fund, their entire mission is to do this for everybody, not for profit, but for the betterment of humanity, right? And I feel like that's the big difference between private space companies and public. And to Van's point, yes, they are doing experiments in science and doing things in the private sector that's super important, but everything that came out of NASA was just like so accessible. The social media game was amazing, because people were asking questions that, like, to us are very common, like common sense questions, but to people who haven't grown up with a love of NASA and space exploration, like, they don't know. And no question was treated as like stupid. Like, every question was treated with such kindness and honor and care, and like the scientists involved and the mission specialists involved, everybody from the control center to the astronauts, have been so gracious in answering things and sharing their joy, which, like, this visual of mission control, like, makes me so happy. And of course, since we're talking about the moon, we have to talk about the fact that mission control had a little sidekick.
Yes,
which
it was so cute.
Artemis the cat from Sailor Moon.
I
right?
loved it. I loved it.
This made my Gen X heart so happy, because, like, the guy at Capcom had a lanyard with Sailor Moon on it. And it's like, okay, so, like, this guy was watching Sailor Moon at the same time I was in the 90s. Right. I think he might be a couple years older than us, but it just was so, it made me so happy, because it's like he knew how important it was to, like, trigger those core memories of our childhood, and to kind of remind people, it's like, hey, you know, the moon has this long history of pop culture references and media, and Sailor Moon is one of those things. And, you know, Sailor Moon was definitely more geared towards, like, you know, girls than it was boys, but it's anime, and of course I watched the hell out of it. I had a TV when I was in middle school, because I think Sailor Moon was, like, being played in the US while I was in middle school. And it had an alarm feature, so it would, like, turn on at a certain time as your alarm. And it, for some reason, I could never get it to default to any other channel but channel 39, for whatever reason, which in Houston played Sailor Moon at the time I had to get up for school. Right?
I love it.
That's fantastic.
I woke up every day for like 3 years to the Sailor Moon theme song.
I think I'm just gonna, like, set to my phone so that I wake up to that now. I feel like I need that.
That might get me out of bed faster.
It definitely got me out of bed, but it like kept on playing so often over 3 years. I started to hate it because I'm not a morning person. But then I sat down and just actually had time to watch Sailor Moon. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun.
That's
So
so
I,
But
it,
I think that goes hand in hand with what you were saying about the scientists and mission control taking the questions so seriously. It's like, you know, these are people who, I mean, they were nerds.
yeah,
They have a passion for this, you know,
yeah,
and to see that the passion is not just in the science, but also in the media that embraces the science, whether it's
yeah.
Sailor Moon or Apollo 13 or all these other things. I mean, I feel like that's also an important aspect of getting people invested in this kind of thing is by answering questions and embracing your own love of it.
yeah,
I mean, clearly they are not getting paid enough to do it for the money. So they are
No.
definitely doing it for the love of space. And yeah, so we had Sailor Moon references, but we have to talk about how Artemis following Apollo is just only
Oh,
nerds can come up with this.
yes.
Only
I
nerds can
love
come up
it.
with this.
Yes.
I
We're
mean,
going to send the twin sister to take the first woman to the moon. Uh, the goddess of the moon. Like just the more you break it down, the more amazing it is. And only nerds would come up with this. And I
See,
just love nerd
inspiring the
joy.
literary love of it as well. I mean,
I just love nerd joy. It makes
I
me
love
so
it too.
happy.
what I love about it is also, it feels like so many things were healed because of this mission. And like oftentimes, even in mythology, the moon is an aspect of healing, right? Like Artemis is the goddess of the moon, yes, but also wild animals. And famously, she told Zeus like she wanted to remain um, just unattached, right? So she was the only goddess that was not tied down to like being married to another god. And so just this like very powerful figure that wasn't tied into all of this like back and forth like drama between the gods and their like lovers. She was just pure and um, basically protected young women. And I feel that there's a lot of healing to do with that as a source of mythology. Kind of like, hey, if you're like a single woman, you pray to Artemis for protection. And like, we definitely need our women protected from the bullshit that's going on in society. I'm just going to not dive deep into that, even though I want to.
Focus on the
But
moon joy.
focus on the MoonJoy. But they're also like Artemis was a goddess of the moon, but also Luna was another goddess that was the woman riding the silver chariot, drawing the moon across the sky itself, right? So even though Artemis is tied to it, we have to remember that Luna was a separate entity as well, and also a
Mhm.
very powerful Titan figure. Um,
And
so
also
I
the
kind
name
of
of my niece.
oh,
Adorable.
very cool. Um, no, it's just I think just so
Yeah.
so amazing.
And I think it kind of tying into this, this comment here, I like. Well, I like and I don't like. Can we talk about the bizarre parallels of Star Trek getting canceled just before a major mission in 1969 and 2026, major moon mission? And I feel like this is relevant in the sense that of our repetition of history, right?
Yeah.
Like it just kind of calls into play how we as a society, despite our advancements and despite our desires to move forward, keep coming back and making these same mistakes. And I'm really hoping that this Artemis mission, I hope that the momentum continues. I hope that going into the next missions and everything, that people cling to this and start putting that ahead of the situations that cause things like Star Trek to be canceled right
Mm-hmm.
before a moon mission, right? I mean, which is insane on the surface, right?
No, I agree. I feel like we So as somebody with a background in history, I oftentimes kind of look at things repeating itself and I get despondent. But then it's a good point to remember that, hey, yeah, but then also the good things kind of come back around and they tend to be better than the last time each time they come back around. So like that's super important for me to keep in mind as well. There's always hope. And I love that a crew of 4 astronauts displayed so much pure joy and passion for just the best things of humanity, which is like science and exploration and the arts, right? And all of the other cool things, obviously. That it's kind of reignited like glimmers of hope in a bunch of
Yeah.
people that have been very despondent over the last few years.
And yeah, I agree. And I think too, one of the things that struck me this time around, like as an adult experiencing this, right, is that, astronauts are normal people, right? They're, we see them as astronauts. We see them, it's like we want to make them into celebrities, but they're not celebrities like celebrities are, right? And I
Right.
don't know if either of you guys saw it, but there was a video that I caught on social media of one of the astronauts returning to his neighborhood, like coming home and just kind of driving through the neighborhood. And for the first time in my life, I'm looking at the neighborhood and not like at the astronaut, right? And I'm just like, well, he just lives in a normal neighborhood,
Yeah.
like with like regular people. This is like a regular job for him. He's not like these billionaires who are like going to send us to Mars or whatever. Like these are people that like this is their job, but they're passionate about their job. They love their job. They risk their lives for their job so that we can gain this knowledge, the research, the science. And they're living in the same like,
Yeah.
kind of like 2-story house that a lot of people are living in
They
across the
live
country.
like 15 miles away from me, if even
Yeah.
that, like maybe even 10 miles away. Like they live, I'm on the south side of Houston. I'm not super far from NASA and from Clear Lake where NASA is headquartered. And just like the thought of like, I have probably walked by astronauts shopping for things
Yeah.
and didn't even realize it, right? Because they're usually so humble. They're not like,
Yeah.
yes, they're celebrities right now, but they're also regular people and they go to regular stores and they have regular lives and they go to like PTA meetings and they
Yeah.
deal with like Houston traffic. And it's just so wild to me that these people are inspirational in ways that I can't even begin to describe.
I mean, they're inspirational in ways that, like, I think when you're a kid, like a fireman or something is inspirational,
Yeah.
or a teacher can be inspirational because these people, here they are for like 1 week, the whole world has their eyes on them, but the next week, they're gonna go back to work. They're gonna go back to work normal, sitting at their desk, doing their science, like, and I love that. I love the fact that this is like we're not just doing it for the likes. We're not just doing it for the fame. We're doing
Right.
it for the passion of the work and to better our civilization and our species, right?
Yes. I think we do have to mention the fact that romantic love has now been given like a higher bar because of this mission.
I love that. Tell me more.
Yes.
Yeah.
No
Oh, because of
one
yes,
has
right.
ever gone all the way around the moon, seen a bright spot, a bright crater, and said, I'm gonna name this after you.
Yeah.
So
Level up, people.
yes.
The thing that really got me.
The bar is high.
The thing that really got me was this comment that he used to always tell his wife, "I love you to the moon and back," and like literally, like I'm gonna tear up because
I'm tearing up. But he went on this incredible mission. He's doing this incredible thing, and he sees this crater, and he tells NASA, "Hey, we're gonna name this Carol after my wife."
Yeah.
And then all 4 of them are in a group hug crying, and that is humanity.
Yeah, that is humanity.
I love it. That is humanity.
It's that moment where, it's poetic, right? It's that
Yeah.
moment where art and science and human emotion come together and form this like perfect like circle, right? And I feel like Joseph said, in the last few years, I feel like we have lost that as
Yeah.
a society and as a species. We've lost so much of that, of like who we are, you know?
It reignited my passion for doing the things like I love, right?
Yeah.
COVID came, and then the orange thing came, and it's been rough, but also like there are so many good things and so many good ways to set examples for all of
Yeah.
us. And okay, yeah. So like to all the incels out there, it's like, yeah, here's a dude who's so pure, he named a crater on the far side of the moon. He's making history, and his one thought is of his deceased wife.
Yeah.
And doing something to memorialize her for all time. And y'all are just upset because nobody wants to deal with your like bad hygiene and toxic personality.
I mean, I
So
like
sorry.
what you said. Yeah, I like what you said there about how that there are a lot of really amazing, good, miraculous things happening in the world. People doing incredible feats that we don't even know about, and they are so overshadowed by these very few,
Yeah.
but very broad, big speaking, like
Very
public
loud.
people and loud, very loud, yeah, people. And yeah, I do feel like you're right, that I hope that this mission is a situation that brings us back to recognizing all of the small beauties like in the world, like the small like glimmers of hope, um that people are doing, the good things that people are doing that are just being overshadowed by the massive storm cloud.
Let's talk about girl math for a minute.
Girl
Right?
math. I love girl math.
Okay, so let's
Girl
talk
math
about
is my favorite.
I'll be doing girl math at dinner tonight.
the amazing, and rightly so. Let's talk about the amazing feat it is, right? So, and a lot of people online didn't understand why it wasn't a direct shot to the moon, right? And it's because of
Right.
gravity and fuel. So this rocket is massive, and it's the largest, most powerful rocket we've ever built, but it still has a finite amount of fuel. And a large majority of the fuel is expended just leaving Earth's orbit initially, right? And so they have very little fuel to do course corrections and anything else. So it was essential to launch this big rocket and to have it enter Earth's orbit at an angle precisely calculated so that it would slingshot around the Earth and then slingshot around the moon so it could come back to Earth, right? And so they calculated the angles and the burn rates. And what's beautiful about this is whoever did the math, which I believe it was a woman engineer, got the splashdown time and location down to the minutes and to within a mile of where they
That's
actually
incredible.
landed. And what's even more amazing is throughout all of this, the final re-entry interface where they entered the Earth's atmosphere to splash down was exactly 1,701 miles, 1701. Exactly.
I didn't know that. I love that.
So not only did they have to figure out the math to make this successful and to make sure that they traveled further than anybody else ever before, but also included an exact measurement to be 1701. Which, for the non-Star Trek nerds, is the part of the call sign of the USS Enterprise, NCC 1701. That is great.
I love nerds.
I love that.
I
You know, the
love
other thing
nerds.
too is like I love that a huge part of this mission was possible because we did learn from one of our mistakes, right? Because of
Right.
what happened on Apollo 13
Yep.
is literally how we know that we knew that this would be possible, that this was how you would do it. And
Yep.
I love that this is like such a fine example of humanity solving a problem in the past and using those problem solving skills and the answer to those problem solving skills situation in the future to do such an incredible thing and to such perfection. I mean, what amazing, right?
So perfect.
Amazing.
Just nerds are the best. right?
Nerds
Like,
are the best.
just so amazing. And yes, I know that like they have computers and they helped out, but at the end of the day, everything in NASA has to be double checked by a human. That's part of process and procedure because machines make mistakes.
Or you
And
end up with like parts that are in metric and others that are in inches.
oh my god.
Or like square and round things not fitting in the same Yeah.
So Apollo 13 is just that entire scene,
So good.
right? It's just so amazing. But
I don't know if you guys have been following like the Mars rover stuff either too. But I saw there's an astronomer or an astrophysicist who breaks things down on TikTok, and fantastic. And she was talking about the new one that they're gonna be sending there, and the new wheels that they've had to put on it to prevent what has happened to the old Mars rover, which wasn't supposed to last as long as it has lasted. So
Yes, I get to become emotionally attached to another robot. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Being attached to robots sounds weird for people who complain about how AI is hurting our world, but also
listen, there are so many incredible things about AI, and if we used it ethically and responsibly, I would be a huge AI supporter. We use it in the stupidest fucking ways.
Yes. Sorry, Mom.
I have to agree that I feel like we
can do an episode on AI next, because there are so many. Well, I know we did one kind of on like AI villains and media, but actual AI would be an interesting podcast to do, because there are so many incredible ways.
Well, yeah, because what you said, we could be using it for such amazing scientific discoveries. And what are we doing? We're stealing people's images on TikTok so that somebody can make like a dance image of one of their followers. I'm just like, excuse me, is there no privacy left in the world? Like,
I feel like, again, let us all remember that the power is ours to elect people who are going to make privacy laws to protect us from misuse of things. Now, to kind of go back to MoonJoy, another thing that made me tear up was that Artemis 2 included heritage hardware, which means there are components from Apollo on the capsule, and they took up, and this is the part that made me cry, right? They took up pieces from Challenger.
No.
So that Challenger would finish its mission.
And this now is that we're all crying.
This now is something. Yeah, and this, when I heard that, I don't know, the first thing I thought of was that episode. Was it an episode of Enterprise?
Yeah.
The ship has the piece of Enterprise in the ship.
It was Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. They have
It was a crossover with Lower Decks, and they needed like some metal that just happened to be a primary component of NX-01.
NX-01. That's right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, see, this is how things should be, right? Like, this is life imitating art, imitating life. This is how it should be, right?
I feel like, I don't know if this has always been a thing with NASA or not, right? So this is something I have to go deep dive on.
Yeah, find out for us and make a video, because I would like to know.
Yes, please make a video, but also we got to wrap this up.
Yes, ma'am.
It's true.
All right.
But I'm going to be...
Marty and I both said that we're on a tight schedule, and I just got a text from a teenager who wants picked up, so.
Okay.
We could definitely do a part 2 of this later.
I'm okay for a part 2.
And talk more about
we could
other
do
moon,
Mars. Or Mars, or because part of Artemis' mission is to eventually have a moon base, so we can talk about that, or a Mars base, or both.
And our favorite Mars related media, because I have a bunch of that as well.
Yes.
Let's then end this. Marty?
Oh, yes.
It is you.
It is me. So that concludes today's episode, MoonJoy. We're so glad that you tagged along. Please give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share our podcast with your friends. Our next episode will be coming soon, probably also space related. I hope, at least.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Going out to explore. Julian comes to another frackin' podcast. Time travel, wormholes, and more. Chevron's locked on another frackin' podcast. Debating all the lore. We get signal of another frackin' podcast. Nerdy topics galore. Systems go for another frackin' podcast.